Central Florida has advanced. UCF beating Colorado. Here is the Big West Player of the Year, Luke Nelson, the all-time three-point shooter in Cal Irvine history. And then Paris Lee, the Missouri Valley Conference Larry Bird Player of the Year. Not only that, one of the four in the 110-year history of the Valley who was not only Player of the Year, he was Defensive Player of the Year.
6'4" from Indianapolis, a senior, number 12, Tony Will.
Okay.
A 6'8" senior from
Cool.
Cleveland, Ohio, 23, Deontay Hawkins.
Do you know any of these three guys? Mark? Do you know any of these guys? You know
The officials?
Yeah. Here we go. Never know.
Yeah, Houston just called timeout down 3.
NIT continues tonight from Redbird Arena, Normal, Illinois. The Big West regular season champion Anteaters of UC Irvine on the road against the regular season co-champions of the Valley, the Illinois State Redbirds. Mitch Holtis along with Mark Adams. This is the Illinois State part of the bracket. UCF has advanced, but throughout the first 2 days, Mark, there have been upsets all over the place.
It's carnage in the NIT as the Power 5 has gone down 5 different times to lower seeded teams to begin NIT play. Let's tip it off in Normal, Illinois.
And a look at Luke Nelson, the Big West Player of the Year, and he missed 18 games because of a hamstring injury. Mark, this kid can fill it up, the all-time leading three-point shooter in UC Irvine history. And welcome everybody as the first round of the NIT continues. The Big West regular season champion, UC Irvine Anteaters, against the co-champions of the regular season of the Valley, the Illinois State Redbirds. Mitch Holtis with you along with Mark Adams. Already upsets all over the bracket in the NIT in this opening round.
It has been carnage in the NIT as 5 lower seeds have knocked off Power 5 opponents just in the first day and a half of this competition. Let's get ready to roll in Normal.
And Hawkins gets ready to roll with the 3. 6 of his last 12 from three-point range. Deontay Hawkins.
These are 2 of the most elite defensive basketball teams in America. Both hold their opponents under 38%. UC Irvine, number 6 in America. Illinois State, number 4.
Big Giannis Demokopoulos. They've tried to go inside twice to open the game.
It'll be interesting to see how Illinois State can get Deontay Hawkins, number 23, down the blocker open for the 3. And there's Phil Fain with the left-handed jump shot from the elbow.
And watching Russell Turner shoot around today, he said, we'll give Phil Fain that shot all night long. Fain's going to have to knock it down.
Yeah, he may change their minds quickly.
This Anteater team has been outstanding on the West Coast for 5 years. They have averaged 23 wins a year over the past 5.
Keep your eye on that man, number 10 in blue, Luke Nelson from Great Britain. One of the greatest players out of Great Britain in the history of basketball in that country.
3 times they've tried to go to Giannis Demokopoulos, and the Redbirds have defended him. And there's your man, Luke Nelson, the stop and pop. 254 threes, the most in UCI history.
He is a big shot maker. Number 10 for UC Irvine, Luke Nelson. Keep your eye on him all night long.
McIntosh way off with that attempt.
This is a big basketball team too, Irvine. 7-footers, 6'10" across their front line.
Paris Lee trying to create. And Dimakopoulos with the rebound. People remember last year they had Mamadou Njai at 7'6" to play with Dimakopoulos. And a good take inside by Jaron Martin.
Yeah, Dimakopoulos looks like a munchkin compared to that dude. And he's 7'2" tall. The big guy, number 12 for UC Irvine, Dimakopoulos.
Ooh, a deep three by Deontay Hawkins, his second triple early.
I like Illinois State coming out in full court pressure. They fall back in the 2-3 zone.
And a look at Russell Turner in his 7th year at UC Irvine, the Big West Coach of the Year. Really interesting guy, Mark, and what a pedigree. I mean, some of the guys that he has apprenticed under is impressive.
Well, he played for Tony Shaver, who's now the head coach at William & Mary. He also served under Dave Odom, great coach at Wake Forest. He also served under Mike Montgomery at Montana, and then at Stanford. He wasn't at Montana, he was with him at Stanford. And then, of course, Don Nelson, one of the great offensive minds in the history of basketball, as Luke Nelson knocks down that bank shot from about 30 feet. Russ Turner's a fascinating head coach for UC Irvine.
Loved his shoot-around today. One of the best shoot-arounds we've seen all year. Attention to detail.
Attention, but not only that, but also there was economy of language and tremendous educational points that were shared during that time. It was 30 minutes of the best basketball I've spent all season long.
Illinois State's Njai. David Njai saves the possession, and Hawkins has hit 3 threes early.
You always worry about an NCAA snub hangover. I don't see that from Illinois State tonight. They have come ready to play.
Officials, timeout.
Deontay Hawkins from Dayton, Ohio, dials it up from deep. Deontay for 3.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the NIT is brought to you by Samuel Adams, Pursue Better, and the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Some cars take your breath away, only one gives it back.
Illinois State snubbed by the NCAA committee, leading here over UC Irvine 11-8 early in Normal, Illinois. Mitch Oltis with you along with Mark Adams. Dan Muller's gone to Twitter. He's gone to Twitter. He said he wants home games.
Well, and he's going to get home games because then he also wants games against Power 5 opponents. And because he went to Twitter and he used his Bitmoji, I'm waiting. Dan Muller, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, Pac-12, Big East. It's me again, looking for home and home next year. Please call me for a chance for quality wins. Guess what, Dan Muller? You got a response from Ole Miss. And that has come to pass from Russ Bjork, the AD at Ole Miss. I'm here with Coach Kennedy, and since he doesn't do Twitter, I do. And guess what? Ole Miss and Illinois State are going to play a home and home as Njai dunks at home to celebrate the new Dayton schedule for next year.
And now a turnover by the Anteaters, their first of the night, against the pressure of Illinois State.
Mitch, when you play in postseason in the NIT or NCAA, because the turnaround time is short and the preparation time is short, you can run plays like that you would get in November that you don't get in your conference play. That's a backdoor lob they used earlier in the season, and now they unwrap it for Njai as he comes in the game, the big fella, number 4. He's 7 feet tall. They're going again!
Lee shoots it instead, and Paris Lee gets his first 2 of the night. A 7-0 run.
Same play, except Paris Lee knocked it down. The player of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference.
So that's an option play based on Paris Lee's read?
Absolutely. He's like a quarterback of the old Oklahoma Sooners.
Nelson's already got 2 threes, an electric shooter, but he turns it over. Evans got challenged by Luke Nelson.
Really good hustle by Luke Nelson.
And now an outstanding freshman, Yasu Worku, a big-time recruit for the Anteaters. Last year was thought to be the best player coming out of Orange County, and McDonald's Arrow-American hits a 3 for UCI.
Yasu Worku, number 24 in blue for UC Irvine. He speeds the game up. That's why he's in the game. Great hustle.
I think we have the answer if these teams are motivated to play tonight.
No question.
Number 10, Bill Fain.
But a look at Luke Nelson, and here's Hawkins coming off with his 9 early. A 42% shooter from 3.
Number 42, Tommy Rutherford, back in the game for UC Irvine.
Tommy Rutherford's one of my favorite players on this basketball team. You talk about attention to detail. He's only a freshman. This kid is a rising star in the Big East, or excuse me, in the Big West, and across college basketball.
Mark, he gets 5 rebounds a game and plays only 18 minutes a game.
He is as locked in their shoot-arounds as any player I've ever seen, and he's only a freshman. He really gets it.
Evans at 2. He loves threes. He was good in Arch Madness. He had 16, a career high against Evansville in the quarterfinals. The Anteaters will keep it, but Worku showing the speed on the press break.
Yasu Worku, he ain't scared. He comes in ready to attack the rim. I love the pace, the attack pace of his game.
Paris Lee doesn't rest much, but he'll rest a bit before the under 12. 2 block shots for Illinois State. Here's another shot blocker now for UCI. These two teams good at the rim. Illinois State had 14 blocks against Evansville and St. Louis in Arch Madness. And now Max Hazard hits a triple.
The son of Walt Hazard. If you don't know that name, you don't know basketball. One of the greats to ever play at UCLA.
McIntosh trying to use his size against Nelson, and Nelson holds the fort.
That's where Luke Nelson needs to improve. He understands the game like a point guard, but sometimes he doesn't execute like a point guard, as he just tries to do a little bit too much.
And now all 3 of the Anteater turnovers belong to Luke Nelson. And he doesn't rest much, but he'll set. He had the hamstring issue, Mark. Knocked him out of their entire non-conference schedule. They brought him back, then he missed 3 more, and then had an outstanding Big West portion of his schedule. 29 points in 2 separate games.
And now UC Irvine goes zone now against Illinois State. That defense was so ball-centric, they forgot about the back line completely. Lost vision totally.
And a foul by Jaron Martin to prevent a breakaway by Evans. 2 times tonight the Redbirds alley-oop dunks.
Look at all the faces. Look at all the blue jersey faces as they're looking at the ball. Phil Fain goes right behind the defense. You can't be just ball-centric defensively. You've got to have vision with cutters going on the backside. Phil Fain now with 4 points and 2 rebounds.
Evans lines that one up.
He has the appropriate number, 3.
He had 5 threes in the Valley postseason tournament, Arch Madness in St. Louis. The Redbirds, 4 of 6 from bonus distance early. And Demakopoulos is shoving David Njak. Is Illinois State ready to play? Yes, they are.
All right, Redbird mean, we have had some great players wear the Redbird uniform over the years. Let's see if
The NCAA Women's Basketball Championship presented by Capital One begins Friday at noon Eastern on ESPN2 with first-round games. Check local listings for the games in your area, and all games are streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN from the Valley, Northern Iowa. Team is against DePaul.
Deontay Hawkins at 6'8", 220 pounds. He's tall enough to see over the smaller perimeter defenders of the Anteaters of UC Irvine, and he is banging them home right now. This is a guy that's taken 2.5 more time three-point attempts than he has free throws this season. This guy loves the three ball, and he can knock him down.
42% for the year from three. Overall, the Redbirds are shooting 60%. As we went to break, people wonder. The Redbirds jilted at the altar on Selection Sunday, and it's always a question if teams are going to be ready to play if there's some hangover. Illinois State has given us an early indication.
We sensed that this team was loose and wanted to play today, especially in front of this home crowd. And UC Irvine had a tough time getting here late last night. Got to wonder if there's a little jet lag, but I expect them to pick up the pace here as we move through the game. Now would be a good time. There's not a direct path from Irvine, California to Normal, Illinois. The wagon train gets a little bit rocky along the way.
4 to shoot, Demakopoulos. Shot clock violation, and there is that Redbird defense. 4th in the nation in field goal percentage. Dean, 6th in the nation in scoring defense.
Illinois State, UT Arlington, Monmouth are the top RPI teams not to make the NCAA tournament. Illinois State, let's call it like it is. Now, it's easy to say they should be in the tournament, but the real issue with this team is scheduling. And Dan Muller knew it. The moment he found out that they would not be participating in the NCAA tournament, what did he do? He asked for a home and home with a Power 5 or Big East, anybody that would answer his call, and Ole Miss did. It's about scheduling, Mitch. It's not about how many wins they had, how deserving they are, anything else. It's because of the out-of-conference scheduling where you can literally buy home games to buy bids to the NCAA tournament. That's the problem with college basketball that must be solved. And Illinois State is the poster boy for that issue.
26 wins, 33 RPI. The only top 40 RPI team excluded in Division I with 26 Division I wins. A good cut in the lane. To it. Fain is active tonight. Second in the Valley in 59% shooting from the field. 6 early for Phil Fain.
He's the quickest jumper on the floor. Number 10 for Illinois State in the white jerseys. That kid gets up quick.
Biggest lead of the game for Illinois State. Their second 7-0 run of the night. They've used the glass. Have the Anteaters and Jared Martin. Tough angle using the glass that time.
Slice the glass.
Again, we're playing under rules, a rules experiment, couple different rules. Watch the fouls reset now. The team fouls reset at 10 minutes of each half.
So after the 4th foul in this segment of the game, we won't call it a quarter, we'll call it a segment for whatever reason. After the 4th foul, it'll be 2 shot free throws.
Nice slip. Jonathan Galloway's got his first 2 of the night.
But Fain again was playing above the rim. Everybody else looks like they're standing still.
Martin gets fouled. So again, with the rule experiment, this is the first foul of this section on Illinois State.
His first foul start over at the 9:59 mark. That is the first team foul of the Redbirds in the second quadrant.
Martin's 85% at the line.
He's number 6 in Cal Irvine history in threes made, 185 of them.
Okay, here's Illinois State, 27-6. 4 of those losses came very early in the season when the Redbirds had injury issues.
And look at their defensive field goal percentage at under 38%. Over the last 9 seasons, NCAA teams that have gone to the tournament holding their opponents under 38%, there have been 23 of them. 11 made it to the Sweet 16. 8 of them made it to the Elite 8. 6 to the Final Four, and Kansas and Kentucky won the national title. If you can hold your opponents at the Division I level under 38% and you get to the NCAA tournament, that typically means success. And I believe Dan Muller's team not only would have made it, I think they would have won a game or two.
But you know, Dan flipped the switch. He goes, it's time to make a run down the NIT. And his team has played very well early in this half, in this game.
Rutherford, so strong, so fundamentally sound. That's as good as it gets from Rivers from the backside. It started with Rutherford.
The son of Doc Rivers. You already mentioned Max Hazard, the grandson of the late Walt Hazard. And now the son of Doc Rivers, Spencer Rivers, has a chance for a 4-point play.
But Mitch, it started with the recognition by the freshman, Tommy Rutherford, to pass it out of the post, then the extra pass to Rivers on the backside. That's really good basketball by Russ Turner's bunch.
The Anteaters have won 3 Big West titles in the last 4 years. Lee pops it home.
Paris Lee is playing the best basketball of his career. Plain and simple.
And the Anteaters answer quickly. Jaron Martin has 7. He leads UCI in scoring.
Well, Jaron Martin is an unorthodox left-handed. He hits those runners, but he hits a lot of them. He's really good at it.
He was also all Big West first team.
UC Irvine foul on number 10, Luke Nelson.
Paris Lee out of Proviso East, one of the great high schools programs in the country.
Doc Rivers went to Proviso East along with a couple guys I seem to remember. Michael Finley, Dee Brown. You know, Michael Finley played for Don Nelson, who was the boss of guess who? Russ Turner. I'm bringing strong tonight, man. Not messing around in the NIT.
Neither of these two teams. Clayton has been aggressive. You remember, he had some big moments. In an Arch Madness, he had to come off the bench to give him 12 points in a quarterfinal victory.
Yeah, keep your eye on number 2. Keyshawn Evans, he can score it from 2-point range well. I like the spacing offensively of UC Irvine. It gives Nelson a little bit of room to roam.
Wills, one of the best defenders in the Valley, forces that turnover. His on-ball presence against Nelson.
Well, Paris Lee's feeling it. He's making every right decision in this game so far. There it is again. It's a good pass.
Demakopoulos will hit a 3 now and then. He's made 21 this season.
Irvine falls back to zone on this possession, switching it up.
Wills has really struggled this year shooting it, Mark. Last year he shot 40% in Valley play. This year 29% for the year.
He's shown spurts here and there, and that's been the issue. He's been very streaky this season. See if they get Luke Nelson involved.
How about the attention, though, he's getting from Tony Wills?
That's the problem. That's the challenge. The NIT, Illinois State, the number 1 seed, up 8 early in this game against the Anteaters of UC Irvine.
Illinois State led by 11, but UC Irvine trying to get back in it, down by 8, 6:37 to go in the first half. Let's take a look and revisit the NIT brackets.
As we take a look at the first round here, this is what we got tonight with Illinois State and UC Irvine. Taco Fall and UCF have knocked off Colorado. Therefore, if Illinois State wins this game, then Central Florida will come to Illinois State. Otherwise, UC Irvine will go to UCF. But here's the big picture, Mitch. The big picture in the NIT. In the first night plus, there have been 7 games against the P5 or bigger budget opponents by On mid-majors, I call them do more with less teams. They're 6-1 on the road against the Power 5 and bigger budget programs. 6-1 so far.
The numbers don't lie tonight.
They didn't lie last year either. With Evans with the steal.
The Birds with great rotation.
They didn't lie last year either. In the NIT last year, in the first round, there were 9 Power 5 teams that played at home. 9 Power 5 teams. They went 9-0. 7 of those winners went on the road to play lesser budget opponents. Do more with less teams. You know what the record was? 0-7. That's the power of a home game. This year, it's flipped, where these teams are now going on the road and beating the Power 5 on their home courts.
Okay, let's take a look at Syracuse bracket. Now, Syracuse and Ole Miss advance, but Belmont is one of your teams. They win and beat Georgia in Athens and move on.
Yeah, Belmont knocked off Georgia. Cal State Bakersfield beat Cal last night. Akron beat Houston earlier this evening. UCF won at home against Colorado. Boise went on the road, knocked off the Utes of Utah. Richmond went on the road and knocked off Alabama. And Oakland was down by 20 in the second half on the road without Jalen Hayes and won at Clemson. You think I'm excited about the NIT?
It's going to take mandated scheduling, my friend. And now a walk. The double team on the hustling Tommy Rutherford. Another good recruit for Russell Turner out of the San Diego area from El Cajon. 8 turnovers by the Anteaters, Mark. Illinois State has no turnovers in the first 14 minutes of this game.
And Paris Lee has been sensational here in this first half.
In fact, the Redbirds, 9 assists, 0 turnovers. Madison Williams is 1 of 18 from 3. Thought he'd take that one.
UC Irvine foul on number 5, Jonathan Galloway.
But Galloway bails out the Redbirds with an Anteater foul. Third foul in this section on the Anteaters. The Redbirds are already over the limit in this section with 4 fouls.
This is the guy that's been quiet, mainly because Tony Will's been guarding. Here he goes. Good pass.
Well, the Redbirds dodge one there. Yasu working with a good look.
Really good job of Tommy Rutherford getting that second chance. I like the way UC Irvine is matched up their 2-3 zone, little man-to-man, especially with Paris Lee out of the game.
Honey spot, McIntosh. First 2 of the game for McIntosh. He averages 13. He missed from January 25th to February 15th with a torn meniscus in his knee.
You know, Illinois State played really well through that stretch.
Good guys step up.
Luke Nelson smart. Look at that pass.
Illinois State again had 14 blocks in one game at Arch Madness. Illinois State is 15-0 at home. They are playing with a purpose tonight on the Doug Collins court.
And there's the block by Mikhail McIntosh. Number 3 from 3, Keyshawn Evans.
Thanks, Brendan. You guys have done an awesome job all year, by the way. And a reminder, the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship presented by Capital One begins Friday at noon Eastern. Then it continues at 2 p.m. on ESPN2 with more first-round games. Now check your local listings for the game in your area, and all games are streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN. Texas, a 3 seed, the top of that list against Central Arkansas. Illinois State on an 8-0 run. The largest lead of the game for the Redbirds, leading by 14.
Well, Russ Turner with that NBA pedigree offensively, see if he can draw something up, get a look. Foul inside.
And Illinois State is over the limit in this section of the game. Again, this section started at the 9:59 mark. That is the 5th foul against the Redbirds in this section, meaning 2 shots on every foul now for UC Irvine.
UC Irvine, the Big West regular season champions. They hold their opponents under 38%, number 8 in the country in defensive field goal percentage. And this is a team that I watched against UC Davis in the championship game on Saturday night of last week. There's Russ Turner on the right. There's the resume for the Anteaters. 3rd regular season title in 4 years. And I can remember once upon a time when Irvine wasn't very good for a lot of decades. You have to go back to Bill Mulligan and that bunch back in the 80s. And then there was a long, dry spell. This gentleman has done a tremendous job. To his left was Blaine Taylor, if he looks familiar, former head coach at Old Dominion, former head coach at Montana.
They have built a consistent winner in the Big West with the UC Irvine Anteaters. The other thing is you look at their overall athletic department. They have 28 NCAA championships, Mark, in 9 different sports. They're just coming off a big. They beat TCU in baseball 2 out of 3. Great academic tradition there as well in that very prestigious UC system.
Founded in 1965, there's the enrollment, over 32,000 famous alums. Greg Lou Davis, Joe Lacob.
2 shots.
One of the 10 schools in the UC system. Of course, the 2 most well-known are UC Berkeley and UCLA, but there are 4 in the Big West, along with Irvine. UC Santa Barbara, Davis, who beat him in the finals of the tournament, and then UC Riverside.
How about Jim West? The job he's done at UC Davis. Former head coach of Bradley was fired. All he did was go to UC Davis and lead UC Davis to the NCAA tournament. Congratulations to Jim West. They still love you in the Valley.
Well, they know him here because that's their arch rival. The Bradley Braves are Illinois State's 40-mile-away rival. And by the way, he now gets to play Kansas by winning tonight. He beat Kansas in a Sweet 16 Bradley run in 2006.
They beat a good North Carolina Central team. Lavelle Moten can really coach. He's got a couple 6'5" guys that can really score. And UC Davis with a huge win tonight in Dayton, Ohio in the first 4. How good's he playing? He's making every right decision, Mitch. How many times do you see a guy where there's a 50-50 decision and he's always making it right? That's what Paris Lee's doing tonight.
And UC Irvine's an excellent defensive team, Mark. Illinois State has 1 turnover in this half. 1.
And shooting over 50% against a team that holds their opponent under 38, number 6 in the country in defensive field goal percentage.
Ooh, they left Nelson, but he defers. Defer no longer.
How good is that?
Luke Nelson for Freeman.
Luke Nelson made a similar game-winning shot against Greece in the European Championships to lead Great Britain to the first time to the A level of European basketball. This kid is a big shot maker, number 10 for UC Irvine. Played for Doug Leishner on the Great Britain U20 team. I watched him during that summer. He was unbelievable.
He was also the under-18 player of the year for England. But how good has Tony Wills been on him? He's got 9, but Nelson's now leads on him.
Let's put it this way. Greece didn't have Tony Wills.
Another block. This time Tony Wills swats it. 4 Redbird blocks.
Number 2, DJ Clayton for the Redbirds.
Tony Wills has been playing devouring defensive footwork with his hands. Look at him fouling right there. Devours the basketball. It's always probing.
Floater, Wills, his his first two.
Well, remember, Oakland went on the road last night, was down by 20. Came back and won at Clemson. It's a long road back, though, against this really stingy, nasty, half-dirty defensive basketball team of the Redbirds.
Anteaters have now missed 9 of the last 10 shots. Nelson.
He good, man. I love his game.
Is he a pro?
I think if
he looks like he could be a pro.
If he cleans up his passing, he's got a chance. He's got a chance. Now, I call the NBA Summer League and get a chance to see these guys up close and personal. He fits in, Mitch. He fits in.
You know, Russell Turner would know all those years being an assistant for Don Nelson in Golden State. He'd probably have to play point guard. But man, can he shoot
no question. He's got to turn into a point guard. And he's got a point guard's knowledge of the game.
You may look for Martin, who's hit 4 buzzer beaters before the half last year. Here he goes again. This would be 5. The 5th time Jaron Martin has hit a buzzer beater at the end of a half since his sophomore year.
And the interesting thing is that Luke Nelson knows it. That's the point guard decision he needs to make to go to the next level. Well done, Luke Nelson. Jaron Martin, you're a stud with the clock coming down to the wire.
Anteaters within 9 and with momentum. Now let's get you to Brendan Fitzgerald and Jason Capel in the studio for our halftime report. West regular season champion Anteaters of UC Irvine trailing the Valley regular season co-champion Redbirds of Illinois State in the 1 seed by 43-34 here at Redbird Arena in Normal, Illinois. Mitch Holtis with you again, along with Mark Adams. We have the 2 conference players of the year in their respective conferences, and they're both playing to their resume.
Yeah, how cool is that? We get to talk about 2 of the great guards in the country, and we're going to show you why they are elite guards for their teams and their conferences and around college basketball. Let's start with Paris Lee. First, decision-making by the point guard of Paris Lee. Second, the 3 game of Paris Lee, which was much refined from a year ago. Third, the complete game of Paris Lee off the glass for the Deuce. For Luke Nelson, for the UC Irvine Anteaters, he is a shot maker. But more importantly, he's also a big shot taker. Right in front of the bench at the buzzer, and he's a big shot decision maker as Martin knocks it down. These are 2 elite college basketball guards.
As we start the second half, it's UC Irvine's possession.
And UC Irvine getting that 3 from Jaron Martin to get within 9. And now they get the first possession of the second half. Illinois State, it's the 27th time they've led at halftime this year. They've won 22 of those games. Irvine has never trailed at half and come back to win.
Illinois State opens in 2-3 zone, and that's the guy you want to have shoot it. Hawkins with the rebound. Luke Nelson, every time he lets it go, regardless of where he is, his body position or anything else, you just think it's going in.
Well, he is a strong, strong kid. Fain has ruled the glass. 5 rebounds and 8 points now for Phil Fain.
Russ Turner, I heard him scream, double team, double team. It's not because he wants his team to double team. He wanted Hawkins to believe he was going to be double teamed. It's an old NBA trick by Don Nelson, and I just heard Turner use it from the bench. Fascinating stuff.
And Dimakopoulos gets his first field goal of the game. The 7'2" senior from Greece. Again, last year played with Mamadou Ndiaye. They went 7'6", 7'2", did the Anteaters. And there's Paris Lee.
There's that complete game of Paris Lee. I love the way Russ Turner manages a basketball game. He is a fascinating guy to watch. Coach a game and in practice. He's got that NBA pedigree.
Well, Illinois State's all over the place. And a near steal by Mikhail McIntosh. Again, who had to recover from the knee issues right in the throes of the season. And here's a look at Turner again. But think about the guy. He's with Mike Montgomery all these years.
He was with Mike Montgomery at Stanford, and then he went to the Warriors with Mike Montgomery. Then Don Nelson kept him on the staff. Demokopoulos goes down and scores. Stayed on the staff there. Actually coached Steph Curry for a while when Curry came to the NBA. I mean, this guy has a fascinating coaching background. It's a potpourri of offensive geniuses, including Tony Shaver, who's now the head coach at William & Mary. I love the way the Tribe spreads the floor and runs their offense, and Dave Odom as well.
Hawkins gets his first second-half points, going back to Russell Turner. He's not even the smartest guy in his own family. His wife is one of the most prominent doctors in Southern California, a critical care doctor.
Isn't that why he moved west?
It is.
Because of her job initially?
Yeah, that's why he was at Wake. She was finishing med school. Then she went to San Francisco for a residency.
Well, listen, every coach in the country will admit that their wives are smarter than they are. I plead guilty as well, as a former coach.
And a foul now is going to be called on Galloway. He thought he got shoved by Phil Fain.
UC Irvine foul on number 5, Jonathan Galloway, his second.
Russell Turner didn't like the call a whole lot there, and neither did Jonathan Galloway, and I really didn't see it either, to be honest with you.
Last year he had 28 wins. They went to the CIT finals. They got all the way to the finals. They lost at Columbia.
Yeah, 5 consecutive postseason appearances for UC Irvine. I mean, this guy has just done a tremendous job with the Anteaters program. And I heard Cal's open today, by the way. Just a thought.
Alfonso Martin's going to Missouri. And Mikhail McIntosh is wanting to go to the next round of the NIT.
At Madison Square Garden.
This was the Illinois State team that beat Wichita State in January, Mark.
They beat them by 14. Lost to them the next 2 times convincingly in the advantage of the Wichita State Shockers.
Demokopoulos has an and one opportunity.
I like what UC Irvine is doing coming out in the second half as Russell Turner decided Demokopoulos, they were going to get to that big dude and let him go to work down low, and it's paid dividends here in the second half. Can you imagine that? 7-2, and your other guy on your front line is 7-6.
And you had Galloway at 6'10".
Yeah.
Foul issues for Phil Fain. He's got 3 personal. That was a problem for him late in February. He fouled out of the Arch Madness championship game against Wichita State in St. Louis.
Good defense by Luke Nelson.
6th block for the Redbirds.
For 3.
Here's where you need a sit down and shut up guy. And Luke Nelson's that guy, number 10, right there.
It's like Paris Lee's playing a video game. And he's punching every button.
Paris Lee from deep. Just listen. In Normal, Illinois.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the NIT is brought to you by the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Some cars take your breath away, only one gives it back.
Illinois State, their biggest lead of the night. They lead 58-40 over the UC Irvine Anteaters. There's a line in Shawshank Redemption that says, how many times do you really look at a man's shoes? For Paris Lee, the story are his shoes.
In a tragic plane accident where 7 Redbirds administrators and coaches perished in the plane crash coming out of Indianapolis from the Final Four 2 years ago. And those are Paris Lee's shoes. They belong to Tory Ward, the associate head coach here at Illinois State. Tori's mother, Janice, gave Paris those shoes. Since Paris has donned those red Jordan 10s, they've only lost 2 games coming down the stretch of this NCAA basketball season since early January. Divine providence here in Normal, Illinois.
Tori Ward, one of the 7 men who were killed. There is a story. Go to any search engine that you want. But we would strongly encourage you to find the story by Matt Norlander, a national story online, written March the 9th. It will tell you most everything you need to know about the most tragic day in Illinois State history. But these players play for those 7 guys. And a good take, 5 straight. Matt, Dan Muller was the Valley Coach of the Year. At his acceptance speech in St. Louis, Mark, he just stopped. It's if he looked out in the crowd and saw those 7 guys sitting at a table, including one of his closest buddies, Tori Ward. He has worn Tori Ward suits times during this year. Illinois State remembering the Redbird 7. You see the patch on their jerseys. Illinois State trying to advance to the 1 seed in their portion of the bracket, leading by 13 over the Anteaters. And look at the bracket. You don't want to get too far ahead because the big 7-6 guys coming here from UCF. But look at the bottom of the bracket and what could be in this arena next week.
You know, Dan Muller and the Illinois State Redbirds, they don't need to look ahead. But everybody in this arena is, including the athletic director, the president of Illinois State. I mean, everybody up and down the line. They've seen the orange of Illinois right down at the bottom of that bracket. That theoretically, if Illinois State and Dan Muller can get there, those 2 teams will play right here at Redbird Arena.
Hey, catch every moment of the 2017 NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, visit NCAA.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Yeah, and if that is an Illinois State game here, the winner would go to Madison Square Garden.
Still a long ways to go till then, because you got that guy who knocked down shots at Martin, and also Luke Nelson, number 10 for UC Irvine as well. I keep going back to that Oakland game last night. I watched that. They were down by 20 in the second half without one of their top 3 players, and Jalen Hayes, arguably their best player. And Greg Campy engineered the win for Oakland on the road at Clemson. Greg Campy can coach, man.
Yes, he can.
That dude is dangerous with 5 basketball players around him.
Steal by the hustling Tommy Rutherford.
How about Belmont and Evan Brands tonight, going to Georgia and winning? I think the SEC is very vulnerable in the NCAA tournament.
Martin drills the 3. You just mentioned and prophesied that one. He's got 16. He had 33 at New Mexico State earlier this season.
He's another big shot taker and maker for UC Irvine. They got 2 of them. They're dangerous. They can score in bunches.
And both were first team All Big West. Underneath, Galloway, right place, right time. A 10-0 run.
Really good full court spacing right there. Galloway inside, and all of a sudden we're hearing some footsteps coming up on the Redbirds.
Illinois State led by 18. And Russell Turner's Anteaters have fought back, with Jaron Martin and Luke Nelson leading the way.
And there's Blaine Taylor right there in the middle of your screen. Blaine Taylor, former point guard at Montana, played for Mike Montgomery, became the head coach at Montana and Old Dominion. There's these 6 NCAA tournament appearances as the head coach at Old Dominion and at Montana. Now the assistant coach here at UC Irvine. You talk about a guy that's just a basketball junkie that gets it. One of the really good coaches in the country.
How good was he at shoot around today, too? It was set play. Fain is rejected, but they're going to call a foul on Rutherford.
Yeah, Blaine Taylor describes players in the most memorable and unique ways in shoot-arounds than anybody else I've seen in the country. And the reason why it's effective, he's talking to young people. He's making a point. He's trying to paint a picture for them as to how they guard, why they guard, and what a guy can do. It was fascinating.
Fain is not great at this, just 53% for the year, but he gets that one. A first-round action in the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship, and it gets underway tomorrow. CBS, TBS, TNT, True TV at noon Eastern. For more information on tournament, game times, and listings, go to ncaa.com. I love the way Blaine Taylor today was talking about DJ Clayton. He goes, number 2, shoots 2s.
Yeah.
Then he goes about Keyshawn Evans, number 3, shoots 3s.
Yep.
Then he goes, David Njai's 4.
He doesn't shoot 4s. That's exactly right.
And Fain paints the student section with that block shot. 6 by the Redbirds in this game.
Now, Phil Fain is a big X factor for this team. We all know about Paris Lee, the player of the year. Deontay Hawkins can bang the 3-ball and they convert him down low. Mikhail McIntosh with a highly refined 2-ball game. When Fain plays well, that's a whole added extra dimension defensively and offensively for Illinois State.
This might be on Fain. He was trying to get the ball away from Tommy Rutherford, and this would be the 4th foul on Phil Fain.
Tommy Rutherford again, attention to detail, tracking the ball. A little bit of early contact gave him the advantage. This guy's going to be a civil engineer. Whatever that is, I want him building my stuff.
And a good recruit again out of El Cajon in the San Diego area, but they were Ivy League schools were heavily recruiting the kid.
I.e. Harvard.
Good basketball program.
At my house, we call it Harvard. Haven't quite mastered the pronunciation yet.
Well, Jaron Martin's mastering the ability to shoot. He's got his team within 7 with 18 points for the point guard for the Anteaters of UC Irvine.
He's made big shots, hasn't he? I mean, big shots in this game. Paris Lee out of the game right now.
Ooh, Njai left alone, man down. It was Rutherford that blew a tire, and that allowed Njai to have the rim all to himself.
Boy, Martin's been so hot, you got to think they're going to try and look for him again. Number 0, and he is blanketed right now by Keyshawn Evans. And then Will's matched up with Nelson. Those are 2 really good matchups.
Nelson yet to score in the second half. That kid has scored.
Jaron Martin with 3.
11 in the second half for Jaron Martin.
Remember, he's the one that banged the 3-ball that gave this team momentum going into the locker room, and that momentum has continued here in the second half.
Hawkins answers.
That was a huge 3. Even over 10 minutes to go. That's a huge 3.
5 threes tonight for Deontay Hawkins.
See if they can find Hawkins again. 23, he's down in the bottom corner.
Njai's making it tough on the Anteater freshman Tommy Rutherford.
3 balls raining. Jaron Martin, big shot maker. Deontay Hawkins says, hey, you make big shots, I can drain them too. Redbird fight.
Back the birds. Get your Redbird football ticket.
Illinois State back up by 9. The big challenge here by the Anteaters of UC Irvine. These two coaches were the respective coaches of the year in their conferences. There you see Russell Turner, his 7th year. Dan Muller, the alum, former star here for Illinois State, the Valley Coach of the Year.
Yeah, these are NIT twins by all of the accolades in postseason. There you see the Coach of the Year, but why are they Coaches of the Year? Illinois State, number 4 in the nation at 37.7 defensive field goal percentage. UC Irvine, Russell Turner, they're number 6 in the nation, just under 38%. And oh, by the way, both of them coached the Players of the Year, and Luke Nelson for the Big West Player of the Year, and Paris Lee for the Valley Player of the Year. These are NIT twin images tonight. There's Paris Lee, the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. There's Luke Nelson, the Big West Conference Player of the Year.
You mentioned the defensive prowess of these two teams. That's why now a lane violation. Hawkins loses his concentration.
Lane violation against the Redbirds.
But Illinois State is shooting 61% from 3 in this game.
Number 11.
And then Martin is lighting it up for UCI in the second half, with 21 total, but 11 in the second half. Usually these teams will shut it down or shut you down defensively, but they're both scoring tonight. He's unreal. Paris Lee right now is controlling every facet of this game.
Yeah, when he's in the game, you just feel a sense of calmness and confidence about this Redbird team. I thought he played inspired basketball in the Missouri Valley Conference Championship game against Wichita State. And he played his tail off. There's guys that play hard, and there's guys that flat out compete as winners. Paris Lee competes as a winner.
He just struggled shooting it. 2 of 9 from 3 in that game. Hawkins has 6 threes in this game. 6 of 6 from 3.
Just give it to him. Let him answer. Let's just get Deontay Hawkins. Let's get Martin out there. Let them play one-on-one. They're the most fun guys to watch out here. Little zone now from UC Irvine. Deontay Hawkins now roaming the middle of that zone. There he is. Good drop by Luke Nelson. I say give it to Deontay Hawkins, see if he can make another shot. Martin just missed. Let's see what he can do.
Hawkins is too close. He's tried to force feed that one. But kicked out by the Anteaters. Deontay Hawkins, 6 of 6 from 3.
The last 3 he made, he turned to Dan Muller and pointed to him. Just like, I got you, coach. Don't worry about it.
Post-up by Kyle McIntyre.
Deontay Hawkins actually retreated. Why did he do that? To drag a defender away, to give Kyle McIntyre space inside. That's smart stuff. Holy cow.
He is so strong. It's his first 2 of the second half.
And you just feel like he's going to get it going. You just feel like he's going to respond.
He looks like the kid that could get 40. He had 36 last year against Cal Poly during March in the postseason. Wells hits one.
29% from 3, not anymore. He just made his last one.
The Redbirds are 65% from 3. 13 out of 20. The 11th time that they've had 10 or more threes in a game, and now a foul on Wills.
Fouls on number 12, Tony Wills.
Deontay Hawkins has been on fire. He knocks down the shot and turns to Dan Hawkins and says, Coach, I got you. That's pretty cool.
Hey, tonight after the Bucks and Clippers finish up over on ESPN, stick around for SportsCenter at night with Neil and Stan. They'll have more bracket breakdowns, plus everything else from a busy day in sports. SportsCenter at night, tonight after the NBA doubleheader on ESPN Also streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Watch what Deontay Hawkins is. He's right at the elbow coming to you at your screen, number 23 wide. Watch what he does. He catches. Now he's going to retreat. Why? To bring Tommy Rutherford, the defender, up with him because you got to guard him, which creates space for Mikal McIntosh to go one-on-one down low. That is great spacing basketball offensively by Deontay Hawkins and Mikal McIntosh.
And Mark Rutherford had to go with Hawkins to drag
guard
out
him.
there. He's at 6 threes.
Yep.
A career high 6 threes in his 91st career game. Will's testing the numbers there of that one.
He let that guy like he was wishing it in. You know, it just didn't look like he left his hand with confidence.
Rutherford finishes from the pass from Nelson, the first 2 of the night for Tommy Rutherford.
Really good ball screen action right there as Rutherford took a hard roll to the basket, and he went to the open space. That's what I liked about his roll. Little zone again from UC Irvine, extending a little bit more. Hawkins now along the baseline.
We got a little jump going on here. They got Paris Lee. Are they face guarding him?
Yeah, they're just extending their zone right now out on shooters.
But that allowed an offensive rebound.
Watch what Tommy Rutherford does here. Number 42 sets the screen. Look how he rolls the open space. Look at all that open space right there. That's a freshman who read it well, knocks down the shot. Good execution of the ball screen offense. And now they are in box and one, matched up with Paris Lee. Rutherford really pursues rebounds, doesn't he?
He does. 14 rebounds against Nevada, 11 against UC Davis in their regular season Big West game.
Record foul number 1.
Paris Lee's got his first foul of the night.
Team foul 2.
Again, you see the fouls at the bottom of the screen. We reset it at 9:59, playing this in different sections. 4 different sections, so both teams, just 1 team foul since the 9:59, but now Iowa State with 2. If they get to 4, they're shooting 2 the rest of the way. No 1-and-1s tonight. And now warning on McIntosh.
Foul number 11.
Give enough space to Jaron Martin on the throw-in.
They're playing along the baseline.
There's your rule changes or experiments in these 4 10-minute segments. Luke Nelson thought he had Paris Lee, and then Paris Lee disappeared. He was just here.
Yeah, while Paris Lee didn't make the shot, he certainly took an interesting shot. He used the rim to protect it. He could feel the big guys coming on his backside. Used the rim to protect and draw contact.
It's like he vanished for a moment. He's also a great free throw shooter, 79%.
Now this young man really competes. He's smart. He feels game situations.
Number 12,
his father, Clarence, died in his sleep. We talked about it. I said, what'd you learn from your dad? He said, I learned how to respect people. It's a pretty good lesson to learn from his dad. His stepdad, Anthony Franklin, a truck driver, has taught him how to work hard.
You know, he learned from his mom, get your butt back in school.
He
almost left.
Yeah.
He almost took off from here a couple years ago, and mom said, nope, going back to normal.
Good decision, Mom.
Demokopoulos makes a good decision. He's got 9, 7 in the second half. Evans finds McIntosh.
Boy, Keyshawn Evans just read that perfectly, and Mikal McIntosh exploded to the basket.
19 Redbird assists.
Boy, every time UC Irvine, the Anteaters seem to kind of pull a little closer. Russ Turner has him in position. All of a sudden, Parsley makes a play. Keyshawn Evans with a backdoor pass to Mikhail McIntosh. Phil Fain gets an offensive rebound. Redbirds have had the answers all night long.
That's why they're 20-2 in their last 22, and the only 2 losses are Wichita State. I just like the way these two teams have played. You know, UC Irvine had a lead on UC Davis late in that Big West Championship game. They thought they were going to the big dance. Illinois State thought they were going with a 33 RPI, but here's your bracket. UCF awaits.
Yeah, Taco Fall, 7 feet 6 inches tall for UCF. Again, a dominant defensive team, number 1 defensive team in the country, field goal percentage-wise. They hold their opponents to 36% on the season. You can't lead a post guy. When he's posting up, you can't lead a post guy. It's like they have a foul.
Anteaters get bailed out. McIntosh was hanging on to Tommy Rutherford.
Fouls on number 11, McIntosh.
Second foul on McIntosh, but here we go with the rule experiment. That is 3 team fouls in this section. The next foul means 2 shots the rest of the game for the Anteaters.
Great anticipation.
Rutherford's fouling, that's his 4th.
Well, Mikhail McIntosh is just flying around the floor right now. He changed that shot in a big way.
Fouls on 42, Tommy Rutherford, his 4th. Team foul 3 as number 23, Deontay Hawkins, returns to the Redbird lineup, replacing
Fain had Fain, the transfer from Western Nebraska Community College in Scotts Bluff.
Giannis Demokopoulos back in the game.
And I think we could safely say this: Illinois State would not have 27 wins without Phil Fain. Particularly when McIntosh went down with the injury.
He was critical during that stretch.
Stepped up.
This team got deeper because of it, too. Little extended pressure now at the half-court line by UC Irvine. Straight 2-3 zone.
Officials, timeout.
Illinois State has shot it from 3. They've got 13 made threes, shooting 51% against a good defensive team.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the NIT is brought to you by Samuel Adams, Pursue Better, and the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Some cars take your breath away, only one gives it back.
Don't tell me the NIT does not matter. Illinois State and UC Irvine both playing with energy tonight. Illinois State leading by 12. Well, let's go back to 2011 and talking about the Valley and Wichita State. When they won in Madison Square Garden to beat Alabama, it set up a run of 7 years for the Shockers.
Yeah, Wichita State, they catapulted from this experience. We all remember the Final Four, the 35-0 team that lost to Kentucky, the Sweet 16 team that beat Kansas in the NCAA tournament, and the Wichita State Shockers will take on the Dayton Flyers Friday night in Indianapolis in the NCAA tournament.
3 top 10 victories by Wichita State, and there you go, 7 Valley NIT championships. Bradley's the arch rival of Dan Muller in Illinois State, just 40 miles up I-74. They've won it 4 times. And some of Bradley's greatest teams, that 82 team, Dick Versace and his club winning it that year, Mitchell Anderson and others.
And Mitch, it has been carnage in the first round of the NIT. As so far, 6 teams have gone on the road who are non-Power 5 and knocked off bigger budget opponents. 6-1 on the road so far.
Boy, Luke Nelson, his only issue has been turnovers tonight. That's 5 turnovers for Luke Nelson.
The NIT gives us a look at programs like Illinois State, where they can play at home tonight against UC Irvine. But when you look at the Power 5 teams that now have to go on the road in the NIT, and in the first round, there were Power 5 teams who were home, they still lost to the do more with less teams. And the reason I use that term is because those are the teams that have lesser budgets, but they went on the road in the first round of the NIT and have won. Belmont knocks off Georgia. Cal State Bakersfield beat Cal. Akron goes on the road, beats Houston out of the American. UCF wins at home against Colorado. Boise beats Utah at Utah. Richmond beats Alabama at Bama. And Oakland knocks off Clemson after being down 20 last night.
Rutherford finds the honey spot in camp. Knock it down. And Illinois State up 12 with 3:12 to go.
UC Irvine is going to stay in that 2-3 zone, try to force a contested shot.
Three lob dunks tonight for Illinois State.
Mikal McIntosh has been roaming that baseline. That zone becomes very ball focused. Everybody watching the ball. And Mikal McIntosh goes right along the baseline for the flush. Paris Lee has read it perfectly every time and dished it on a dime.
The Valley's leader in assists. And there's a look at McIntosh. 9 in the second half.
You know, Paris Lee, on Sunday, when the selections were announced and Illinois State realized that they would not make it to the NCAA tournament, Paris Lee was devastated, in tears. Dan Muller had to meet with Paris Lee and also Tony Wills and just psychologically bring him back to this game. I talked to Paris Lee right before the game. He said, "This is my NCAA tournament. We've got something to prove." He's proved like a dude that has something to prove.
His line tonight, 13 points, 6 assists, no turnovers, 2 threes. Nelson's been a mystery this year at the line. Some of that problem, the hamstring problem, missed 18 games. Last year he shot 87% at the line. This year under 70.
That should have been a turnover. It was deflected to the corner. Looked like a hockey shot. McIntosh has been Superman.
Phil Fay has done his work at the ring.
Wow. And that was with confidence. That was a no hesitation 3-ball for Luke Nelson. And now it's a turnover. A baseline turnover, stepped in bounds.
Leverett stepped in bounds. UC Irvine.
Watch this. It's from the NIT logo. How would it be to be able to do that? At least, I mean, even get the chance to do it. That was never part of like my repertoire for a lot of good reasons. How good was that?
You know, we forget he's one of the remaining anteaters that played in the NCAA tournament against Louisville 2 years ago. They had Louisville beat.
Yeah, dang near beat them. Yep.
Down 2. They lose by 2 to Louisville a couple years ago. They're still hustling, man, and Galloway with a stake back. 5 unanswered for the anteaters.
Full court pressure now. Can the Redbirds take care of it?
And the anteaters still not over the limit. A reminder, catch every moment of the 2017 Women's Basketball Tournament on the ESPN family of networks. For more information, visit NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Again, there's no 1-and-1 tonight. If you joined us late, the NIT experimenting with the rule. Game played in sections, 4 10-minute sections. Now the next foul
Both teams
on the
now in
Anteaters
double bonus.
will put Illinois State in the double bonus.
Look at this. Maestro.
Three miss from John Edgar Jr.
Give it to number one. I just want to see him make one more play. This has been as entertaining as it gets. And Paris Lee has entertained an ESPN national audience tonight,
It is double bonus.
along with a lot of Redbird fans in Normal, Illinois.
And there is no hangover for Illinois State for not making the tournament on Selection Sunday, the NCAA tournament. They are taking the NIT as serious as they took the regular season when they tied Wichita State at 17-1 for the Valley Co Championship.
Just listen for the applause for Paris Lee and company. What a performance.
Second of 2 for Mikhail McIntyre.
I'm honored to be here to watch it. That's how good it was tonight.
Illinois State, a season high 22 assists and just 8 turnovers. And Dan Muller's platoon leader, Paris Lee, leading the way. Fain is fouled out for the second straight game.
Foul number 10, Phil Fain.
And I'm impressed with UC Irvine's program, their team, their coaching staff. They just hit Illinois State on a wrong night.
Yeah, and listen, let's also, we're not going to make excuses, but reality is reality. It's a team that lost on Saturday night on the West Coast. To find out on Sunday, of course, they weren't going to be an at-large bid. They get on the airplane. It took them forever and a day to get here last night. They finally get here. They work out today, and then they go against a very focused, very athletic, well-coached, dominated Illinois State Redbird defense and offense. And there's Luke Nelson. What a career. John Amici, Lou Aldang, Luke Nelson. Probably the 3 greatest players to ever come out of Great Britain. It's pretty good company, Mitch.
And he will go down as one of the great players in UC Irvine history. You know, Scott Brooks played in this program.
Yep.
The coach of the Washington Wizards. Yep. Did a great job of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
He played for Bill Mulligan, one of the great coaches that ever coached the game.
Illinois State is advancing. And UCF, which won tonight over Colorado, is headed to Redbird Arena.
Taco Fall at 7 feet 6 inches tall, shoots over 70%, can dominate you defensively. A double-double guy, night in and night out. Matt Williams, a guy can really shoot the 3 ball. And just defensively, just hard to score against. That's what Dan Muller's going to face in the next round. The #1 defensive field goal team in America. They're beating the number 6 team tonight. They're going to face the #1 team in the country here coming up. They hold their opponents to 36%. Of course, Johnny Dawkins came over from Stanford to become the head coach at UCF. It's going to be a great matchup.
Evan Leonard.
Illinois State made 13 threes, shot 53%, had a season high 22 assists, And the Redbirds tonight played like the regular season champion.
It's the end of the game, and the Redbirds win. Illinois State 85, and UC Irvine 71.
And Mark, here's the updated bracket. And at the bottom, yes, Illinois is at the bottom of the bracket.
Yes, we can afford to look ahead. Illinois State, UCF going to be a tremendous matchup. Boise State, do not sleep on the Broncos. They'll be headed to take on Illinois and Champaign Monday night at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
National Invitation Tournament.
Illinois State, a school record, 28 wins, 22 straight home victories. That's a school record. They had the 5th longest winning streak at home. They get it done tonight. Redbirds win at 85-71. We'll be back with more here from Redbird Arena, but after this, let's go to the studio and Brendan Fitzgerald.
Round 2 of the NIT.
In the other tournament, but this is a great opportunity for us. Guys came out with passion, played well. It's a really good team we just beat. We shot the heck out of it. And we want to win this thing.
What was the secret to psychologically preparing your team? I mean, Paris Lee was in tears on Sunday night. How did you get them ready to go?
Just talked about how much fun this can be, how much they love each other, how much they want to play together. But in the end, it comes down to these guys right here. They do all the work. They make the decisions. They buy in. And it's credit to the players.
Thanks, Dan. Let's turn our attention to the player of the game, one of my favorite guys in Missouri Valley and around the country, Paris Lee. It was an honor to watch you. How did you bring so much energy after all the disappointment?
Well, I had to really get my guys ready. Everybody was upset. Some guys was even ready to go home for spring break because it's our spring break week. But my mom told me to treat the NIT like it's my NCAA, so that's what I did.
What was your favorite play of the game?
Probably the last lob I threw to Deontay Hawkins.
Paris Lee, the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. He just brought a first-round game win to Normal, Illinois. Congratulations.
For sponsoring these student tickets.